looking a little bit terrifying. He's in the red trunks and he is playing Terran to the northeast. Let's hear it for Satiini. Oh, no bias here then.
We'll see, man. Does he have what it takes? I mean, in previous results, as you did mention briefly, DieStar has got the upper hand in previous results, but that was a very long time ago, through 2011. He did have the upper hand, but in 2012, fresh in the new year, 0 results against each other. But Satiini has been winning stuff online recently as well as a LAN too. DieStar, on the other hand, has a variety of different results, doesn't really win everything. He's a lot of first, second, thirds, and it really does depend on the cup, but nothing offline in terms of big results. So we'll see what he can do here. Daybreak, a macro match. We did see a TVT on here earlier between Puma and Cass, and we are seeing a bit of more variety though, as we do see DieStar opening up with a refinery, and actually equally, so does Satiini. Of course, could be seeing some early tech here.
Yes, we could. What these guys have both got to consider is that this is perhaps what could be considered their easiest matchup between in this particular group, because the rest of the group is fairly brutal. JYP and White Rock. You don't mess with that at the moment. You really don't. Yeah,
this is a very important win for both of these guys. Important game, not just win. Like you said, going up against JYP possibly next, and then White Rock, which can do anything. Apparently built a mothership in a PvP. So
apparently that's becoming the thing now.
Well,
seemingly.
early mothership.
Yeah.
Early mothership doesn't work that well.
Generally, no.
But yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see. Both of these guys going at it though. Terran versus Terran. So far, I mean, it looks like they're just going to open up with a Reaper expansion here for DieStar. Will we see the same? And yes, we will. So Reaper for each of these guys, then into the expansion, I'm sure. And it really does depend on which Reaper sees the other one first. Because if you lose that initial Reaper in this kind of scenario, you lose map control, you could potentially lose SCVs behind it as well.
Yep.
And we do see DieStar with the earlier Reaper here, considering both of them had exactly the same build, so a little bit of a slip up there.
Yeah, definitely. And that few seconds can certainly make the difference. A dash over to the Zelnaga watchtower seems like the way to go. See if you can spot the other Reaper coming in, if of course you suspect that. Satiini does have some scouting information. He doesn't know about the tech lab, but it certainly has to be on his mind. Both of these will of course go for a Reaper expand here, and then we'll find out who manages to get the good engagement. Immediately the Reaper pops out and is heading in this direction, taking a little bit longer than it should, hopping over unnecessary barriers.
And they do have a mirrored build, yet nobody knows it's mirrored because they only saw each of them, the barracks without the gas in. Clockwork, man. Look at the Reapers going around, though. It does look like DieStar's one will walk into the Zelnaga town, take a few hits from the Marine, but the problem is there's only one more Marine coming out for Satiini, but it will be enough to take down that Reaper if it is positioned well, but caught out of position, then obviously he could lose a lot of SCVs here. Likewise, there's the Reaper coming down for Satiini. Let's have a look at DieStar's one, though. DieStar's going to go behind the mineral line into the main, and the Marine isn't there. We're going to get some potential kills here.
Yeah, well, we've got Satiini who's moving in with his. DieStar built a second Reaper, but hasn't actually responded just yet. And DieStar, well, I think they both actually stopped the expansion of the other, but this one's going to get shut down. The other one is still alive in the base. Reaper on Reaper. Satiini actually wins that fight, but that Marine will kill that almost a bit. Too late. Tries to escape up the side, and both delay each other's expansions.
Yeah, it's pretty much equal so far, nothing too big, but Satiini did expand within his base compared to the other one. But look at this, we do see a starport coming down here for Satiini. So he definitely is going to be looking to do some early aggression. Tank, I mean, he could go for very early Viking, but I suspect that that will be a medivac. But we will check that out very shortly. Meanwhile, a scan lands down for Satiini, sees the 3 barracks, sees the build, sees the gases. And let me just check, does he check the, does he even see the engineering bay? He does, so he gets a full scout there. So that's really good information for Satiini, who changes around and is going to put a Banshee out by the looks of it.
Nothing wrong with that. Sounds like a plan indeed. Another scan lands down, so maybe not. But admittedly, those scans are, of course, costing both of them in terms of potential revenue, but they want to be safe. In this kind of matchup, a build order slip-up will put you in a horrible spot. I can't imagine that this is going to be with Cloak. He hasn't bothered to start it, so it's a bit late for it now, and it's a good idea not to go with Cloak. It will be shut down too easily, especially with that scan.
Yeah, and he's basically looking in to go in, maybe find some SCVs potentially, because going for this bio build, there's no factory, there's no starport, of course there's not going to be any Vikings, you only have the ground army we see now to defend. So if there's no turrets down as well, and to defend everywhere with only turrets, that's a lot of money to be invested. So there's always going to be holes that a Banshee can find. But we do see this push out here, which is going to catch Satiini a little bit off guard, because he should be like, wait a minute, you scam me building a Banshee, man. Why are you moving out with your Marines? You should be defending this. So he doesn't have siege mode and has to start it immediately.
Yes, it does. The Banshee is out on the way to the bottom right here for Satiini as well. That has managed to avoid pretty much everything. Admittedly, DieStar knows that at least something along those lines was deployed. Question is there a missile turret down? There is. It's not the best spot, honestly. It's good for denying drops. It's not in a good position for stopping a Banshee. Admittedly, he's still going to have to find the hole, and he actually does discover it and takes a little bit of fire there and takes unnecessary damage, I feel. He could have gone in a little quite faster than that, but he's now going to be able to stop a lot of mining.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't walk into that turret, he should be fine, and he's already got 3 kills, 4 kills now, and that's...
But it was paid for itself.
Yeah, that's paid for it, man. That's really good for him now, and he's switched back over, so... That was a pure investment of just a single Banshee, then straight into tank and siege mode. So very nice little play there by Satiini, a little bit of harassment. But let's have a look at his overall gameplay. He's added on these additional barracks now and a stim too. And it looks like DieStar though. Let's have a look at this supply. Yeah, he's actually behind in terms of income, and Satiini takes a good lead at the early stages.
Yeah, if he can do any more damage, that'll be amazing, but I don't think it's going to happen. Funnily enough, he goes for that Marine. He can't quite pick it off, and DieStar just moves back just a little bit there. Doesn't quite have the range that he needs. I also like the decision of Satiini to put down a sensor tower there. That's absolutely wonderful. Any kind of drop harass coming from that direction will be detected miles away, so he's going to have all sorts of opportunities to intercept. Also, the worker count is heavily in favor of Satiini right now as a result of that harassment. A 7-worker lead as DieStar takes his third.
Yeah, DieStar takes his third at a really good time because he didn't need to invest in tanks, which on the other hand, Satiini has. And Satiini doesn't have a third at all, and he can't really afford to go for it unless he cuts unit production. Will he do that though? Will he decide to cut it and take a third base, or will he push out with what could be a significant army because of all these siege tanks? As long as he gets into position, he could lay down so much damage towards any potential third base. And I really do like that he's covering his back with sensor towers as well to make sure that DieStar, very well known for drops, well known for his aggressive play, that has been shut down. And I think we're going to see Satiini push out very shortly here.
I certainly think so. DieStar is preparing for it. He has a significant Marine advantage, but he doesn't have a lot of tanks. So it's going to come down to positioning. If he catches those tanks undeployed, then DieStar is going to be able to crush that force, and that might even be a game winner for him right there. Single Marine by Satiini at the bottom might end up scouting a huge amount of information. If DieStar keeps going in this direction, and he is, oh, that Marine is going to be savior of the day.
Yeah, it does see that though, and Satiini does turn around, but to be honest, Satiini should just keep a couple of tanks by his natural, leave a few units as well, but he's going to go for the interception instead, and this is going to be really good for Satiini if he lands off a big hit.
Oh, DieStar's too quick for him. That's not going to happen. And the engagement there focuses on the medevac. A nice little move. Satiini pulls back using the speed of the stim to get out of range, to get another salvo from his tanks. Nice little engagement from Satiini. Satiini with a significant advantage still, a economic advantage of 6. But DieStar does have his third up and running right now, and it is an orbital command, so things are going to change in that respect.
Yeah, and I much prefer DieStar's build here, just to delay the tanks, get them after, rather than just throwing them in early, unless you're going to be aggressive with this, which Satiini doesn't look like he's going to be yet. He has taken a third base while adding on another factory and another engineering base, but the thing is, he doesn't know about that early third base, and will the Marine get it?
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, maybe, yeah, he knows. He gets the information, dashes past, it will be sacrificed this day, but it works. He got what he needed, and now he's going to think, well, okay, right, I am a base behind. I did have an economic lead. Chances are I don't anymore. I can't be 100% sure. I need to think about what I'm going to do next. Do I drop? Now is a good time when your opponent's spread across 3 bases.
And he's going to march through the center now, and all he needs to do is go to the third base and siege up. There's no siege mode whatsoever for DieStar. DieStar does have a decent ground force, which will be able to counterattack, though. That's the problem Satiini's going to walk into. It looks like DieStar was setting up that counterattack, but does see the army coming south instead of going north. He also has a Marine patrolling at the north side as well to check if they're coming. And equal blows here, and that's pretty good for both.
Yep, Satiini pushes forward, doing yet more damage. Counter stim comes in right there. The tanks are not quite deployed close enough. They could, to be fair, Satiini, I think, could have leapfrogged a little bit more than he did there and gained a better position. But honestly, DieStar's pretty much conceded this southern area, and Satiini could have sieged up there if he wanted to.
And it looks like Satiini a little bit ahead with upgrades, working on 2-2 and +1. And that's interesting considering he has the lower economy. So I really do believe that that's a simple mistake on DieStar's behalf, which it is, because he could easily afford to get upgrades. He's just deciding not to right now because he knows he needs the tanks out, because without the tanks, his fight will never go down. And he's moving now into a decent position, and scan does not really reveal anything, but
Gonna walk right into that, and he's gonna be careful. DieStar gets a good concave. Can he actually get the tanks though? Oh, the right flank annihilated. Satiini with a great shot right there.
Yeah, really, really good move by Satiini there, and he can easily, well, the thing is he can unsiege and take a gamble and go to the third base, but very easily at the same time, DieStar could just stim in and kill everything. So Satiini has to play this very carefully. He scans down, he's realizing that, oh, okay, he doesn't have that much bile, let me just crawl forward a little bit. And he is reinforcing at the same time, but Satiini has to do damage. He hasn't taken that third base yet. There's no gas income from there either, and it's okay so far, but he can't stay here because of the Zelnaga tower. If it isn't in his control, he's always going to be pushed back.
Exactly. It's tank-on-tank war that DieStar will actually win over that Zelnaga tower. Satiini doesn't have what he needs. He knows it, and he undeploys at this point. In the meantime, we can have a look at the raw infrastructure that Satini's got going for him. He has, as far as, he has 10 production facilities in total, and a good number of barracks, pumping out a large number of Marines. Looking at... He could even have more than that. Yeah, putting out about 10 at once, but so is DieStar. This game is pretty damn even so far, and both of these guys are about to actually get a 200 supply army. Satiini, though, is going to get +2/+2, whereas his opponent will only gain the +2 there. It's a bit of an edge.
And he's trying to find position on this third base. It's very difficult because DieStar has sufficient enough tanks now that I can't see Satiini breaking through at all. As long as DieStar has tanks in position. Another scan by both players looking for position. It's all about that position. Can I find somewhere that my opponent has no tanks, no units? Can I siege up there? And the question every single time here for Satiini is no. My opponent has the Zelnaga tower, he has tanks, but DieStar going for a humongous flank here, and Satiini up against the wall. This is huge. He cannot, if he loses this army, he may as well just lose the entire game. So this is so... He has to be so cautious right now, TotalBiscuit. Yeah,
so DieStar's being cautious as well, though, and it looked like an aggressive move. It still is. He's pushing himself all the way across the map. The risk is that DieStar gets crushed between these two armies. If Satiini actually rolls forward immediately, that could be a horrible situation for DieStar to get into, and I can only imagine it's going to go to do just that. Zelnaga tower is in control of Satiini, not
Satiini
DieStar.
sees it. He sees the tanks are unsieged, but they get up just in time.
He splits, and it's good. Satiini breaks through, but it doesn't really matter that much because DieStar's come back, and he's got to inflict some damage of his own, but 3 deployed tanks inflict huge damage for Satiini. 4, in fact. Third base is under grave threat. The Marines are taking a bit of a jog over there. The SCV's off the line. +2/+2 Marines are going to shred their way through that, taking a little bit of fire from the ground there. DieStar moves to reinforce. This game is all over the place. Satiini now moving to actually take that position, take control of that Zelnaga watchtower.
DieStar's on the back foot, and he's going to lose the Zelnaga tower range, and DieStar has to scan. Satiini is controlling this game now very
really
close.
Nice salvo.
And he did find that position. He found an opening and he hit it amazingly. Awesome play here by Satiini, and now he's got the map control, which is ever so important here.
Man, DieStar's bleeding hard if you look at the amount of resources actually lost. He mined a little bit more, but nowhere near enough to compensate for the amount of resources he's thrown away at this point. We've got a drop coming down to try and harass the third here, and it might do a little bit of damage. There's the stim coming in. The medevac stays alive as well, so that's an easy crush there. But speaking of crush, here comes Satiini. Oh, wow, DieStar in a very clumped up position and has got to eat a ton of tank fire. I don't want to get anywhere near that. Satiini inflicts a ton of damage. DieStar is trying to do as much damage to third base as he can and stims forward to shred that mineral line.
So unfortunate for Satiini not to have units there, but he does manage to clean it up, and he's trying to get position on DieStar in the main. On the third, sorry, but DieStar has tanks there, and nobody really has air control, so they can't push each other back. but the upgrades now are going to be heavily in favor of Satiini. But a
hello.
flank is coming in here.
Yes, he is. He's looking for it. He has control of the Xel'Naga. His opponent has control of the other Xel'Naga. He doesn't know that it's coming, but he's still going to run into a ton of tanks one way or the other, attempting to pincer it. Will it work? It will, because DieStar's got a great concave. He crushes Satiini's army, and he needs to get out of there with those medivacs right now. It's a huge investment. He thankfully is able to do that, and DieStar defends incredibly well there, and is able to at least just lighten up the pressure a little bit. But Satiini has no intention of letting up, gets in there before the deployment, but there are simply too many tanks, and Satiini's army goes up in smoke.
Oh man, Satiini gets pushed back now from DieStar. DieStar taking the advantage here with the better production, the more units coming out per cycle, and that little maneuver to Satiini's third base really threw him off guard, man. He lost a lot there just to a handful of Marines, and it's still not over though. Satiini does have position in the middle, and he does have better upgrades, so he's going to do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, those +2 tanks are, of course, dealing incredible damage, but DieStar is dancing, he's prancing, and he makes his way through those tank lines. Takes a few more losses than I would have liked, but so many tanks to reinforce. A personal medevac for each remaining Marine on the ground. They aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's the real thing there, is the Marines won't die because they keep getting healed in between tank volleys when they're so little. And oh no, man, DieStar, I mean, he's going to hold this position, and Satiini can't let him hold this position within his third base.
Oh, SCV's coming off. There's going to be a ton of damage there. Satiini doing some, but I don't know if he's got enough. He charges right now with the SCVs. Takes one tank. He takes two. Can he clean this up? Looks like he can. Medivacs don't heal tanks. Satiini holds, but loses a lot of SCVs in the process. Oh, there's a lot of medivacs going down as well. Satiini's having none of that. Goes for it. He needs to try and break the tank, but he can't do it. More Marines coming in to reinforce it. A lot of medivacs thrown away. But this is the damage right now. 26 workers killed on both sides. Satiini's worker count is way lower than his opponent's, and it's looking a little bit grim right here.
Oh, that tank won't die, man. It won't die, and it's still...
Finally it falls, but DieStar brings it into reinforcements. A quick stim. Satiini losing a medevac of his own. Both sides taking damage, and there's the GG.